What's going on, everybody? This is Joe, and I am here for something pretty fun and special. Now, when the Final Fantasy set came out recently, Amy and I were here together and we opened an entire Play booster box. But we did so much similarly to the way that I'm going to be doing this Marvel's Spider-Man Play Booster. And in fact, technically, specifically, it's Magic the Gathering Marvel's Spider-Man Play Boosters, but that's fine. Whatever the case may be, I'm going to be opening 6 packs at a time, basically sealed pools, out of this Play Booster box until we are done with this Play Booster box. This is the first video, so you have not missed anything if you have not seen any of these before, although I will say that we have done other openings on this channel of Marvel's Spider-Man products from Magic the Gathering. So if you're interested in those, I will try to link at least one of them up in the top right-hand corner there for you. In fact, I probably will link the video where I opened not one of these, but 6 of these, along with 6 collector booster boxes. Now, we are not going to be opening any collector booster boxes on this channel of our own because they are very expensive. And if you got any for yourself and you want to let us know what you got, the comment section down below is the place for you. I would truly love to hear from you and letting us know what you got, because that would be really cool. But here is the booster box. Like I said, we'll be here for a few weeks opening stuff out of this box. Inside on the top, as boxes tend to do, we have a little card here that says scan here to discover the coolest cards. So people can do that if they'd like. I'll kind of fix the glare a little bit there from our light so that you can see the Green Goblin on the right there. The like ha-has are like feel very Joker-y, no? I know that Joker is from DC Comics, not Marvel Comics, but just, you know. Anyway, and then on the other side is Spider-Man, but it also says Magic the Gathering Marvel's Spider-Man Draft Archetypes. So I have one of these cards in front of us every Monday when we stream, because we do stream every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern, MTG Arena, right here on this channel, and we can talk about these archetypes then. You can obviously pause and read them now if you'd like, so that you can be doing a little bit better for yourself. If you know, obviously you can find these online too, but these are the archetypes that this format was created with that in mind. And the other thing that we have, for folks that may not be aware of how this works, when you buy a box, there is such a thing as a buy a box promo. Now, the buy a box promos, of course, are first come, first serve. Some stores don't get, you know, they don't get an unlimited quantity, or maybe they don't get as many buy a box promos as they get boxes, because they can give those boxes away as prize support, or they can open them and sell the packs individually. And so then those boxes don't get sold, whatever the case may be. But long story short, we got ourselves a buy a box promo for Magic the Gathering Marvel's Spider-Man, and it is this alt art foil Spider Sense. And I think it looks really great. I love this is how in the comics they would depict his spider sense going off, his being Peter Parker's, of course. Sometimes even in TV shows they would do that, where they would like superimpose his mask over his face. He's not actually wearing that mask. It's just that, you know, he has the spider sense of danger present, and even the flavor text says danger, but where? So I really like that. I think this card's really cool, and it's our buy box promo. I can probably like stick it in the back there. If it falls, whatever. But we're going to open our first 6 packs right off the top of this box. I'm not going to do anything fancy. It's going to be the top row of 3, and then the second row of 3, and then the next video will be the next 2 rows, etc., etc. You know, that's how I will be opening this box. I know some people try to keep track of that in terms of like, oh, maybe it's a box that can be like, you know, figured out like what order the cards are put in or whatever. I don't know if that's the case with these, but I guess, you know, we can find out as we go through these videos. But we start with an amazing acrobatics. By the way, because I'm doing a sealed pool, I'll ask by the end of this video if you have a particular deck type that you would make. We're limited players around here. That's what we play on Mondays on Arena. So if you have a particular deck that you would play if you opened this sealed pool on Arena or at a pre-release or something like that, let us know in the comments. But we have an amazing acrobatics to start. This is a good one. We have a Spider-Gwen Free Spirit. So Ghost Spider depicted on both of the first 2 cards that we opened. That's fun. We have a Grow Extra Arms. That's something. for a combat trick. We have Risky Research for some card draw in black. We have a Daily Bugle Reporters. Okay. So counters or bring a creature back from your graveyard to your hand. We have a Gallant Citizen. This is a very good card and a hybrid card. You could put this in a green X deck or a white X deck or a green-white deck. Obviously, it goes best in the green-white deck, but still. We have an Oscorp Research Team. I'm not as big of a fan of this card personally. I've seen people use it against me, so there's that. Especially in Sealed. Sealed, traditionally a slower format because you don't have the selection ability with Draft where your decks are more synergistic. This is just whatever you happen to open. So a slower format means that you could get to 6 or 7 mana, a lot more easily. So, and a 1/5 could help you block on the ground for a little while you're waiting. We have Spectacular Tactics, very nice card. A Pictures of Spider-Man. J. Jonah Jameson would be so happy. But this is our first uncommon. I'm not as happy. This card's fine, I guess. I don't personally like it very much. We have a School Days. I'm also not, I guess this card's fine. Like, if you have a deck where you're keeping up a bunch of instants and sorceries, and this is just one of them, and you know, okay, well, if I have to play a 2-drop spell and a 3-mana spell, I can do that, or I can keep up this 5-mana spell where if they do nothing, I can, you know, maybe counter something and draw a card or just draw 3 cards at the end of their turn, something like that. I'm not in love with it, but it's not a terrible card. And we have Hobgoblin Mantled Marauder. So definitely for the Mayhem deck, which I've been very interested to try out. At the time of recording, I haven't really gotten a chance yet, but during the streamer event, if you did not get a chance to see the streamer event that we were in, sponsored by Wizards of the Coast, you should definitely go check it out. Obviously, it's 12 hours long for what we did, so, you know, strap in, I suppose. But we played against a number of Mayhem decks that worked very, very well. And like I said, I haven't gotten a chance to try them out yet, but I'm looking forward to it eventually. So let me know in the comments if you have tried out that deck and what you thought, or if you've played against it and what you thought. But I've definitely been very interested, and this would be a very good card for that deck. So something I'll keep my eyes open for in this opening. And that is our 3 uncommons, our first 3 uncommons. The next card could be anything, well, anything but a common, I guess. So let's see what we get. We get a rare in Iron Spider Stark Upgrade. For limited in this set, this card, I think, is trash. There are not really artifact creatures and or vehicles enough to make this worth it. I guess, you know, maybe I'll eat my words, but I literally had a pool where I had 2 of these and I played neither of them during pre-release. And there was a reason for it. This card's just, it doesn't have the support that you would think it does. In Constructed, sure, absolutely. And there are artifact decks in Standard, or a lot of artifact cards in Standard right now. So this card would be really good for that. But in Limited, I don't see it with this set. I really don't. Like, the artifacts are fine and the vehicles are fine, but they're not good enough to, like, use this to be a lord. Again, in my opinion, if you disagree, definitely let me know in the comments below. But this being our rare in pack 1 is a little disappointing, I won't lie. Our foil is a foil uncommon in Wisecrack. This is a very good card. So between Hobgoblin and this, our red is very nice in this pack. Very, very nice. I like this card a lot. It's a very, very good removal spell. You do not need to use this when the creature is attacking, but if you do, more power to you. It's 2 extra damage to your opponent. That's nice. Our land is an Ominous Asylum. That is, in fact, a card that works very well with the Mayhem deck, of course, because the Mayhem deck is typically black and red. So that's awesome. In fact, we just looked at that earlier when we looked at the draft archetypes. It told you that. So yeah, this is very good to know that we have this fixing, and it is not foil. It looked like it from my angle for just a moment there, but it's not. But the land slot could be a dual land, a full art basic, a regular basic, and then any of those categories of cards could be foil as well. So that's why I was a little confused. But we have a Human Citizen token and a Copy token as well. Pack 2 of 6. hopefully you're enjoying these videos. I really would love, I mean, you know, hopefully you've been writing your novels as are appropriate in the comments, but I want to know folks' thoughts about this set. You're welcome to be positive or negative as long as you're respectful. Never a concern. If you have opinions different than mine, totally fine. I'm a big Marvel fan, so I'm glad that this set exists, but I could totally understand folks that are not big fans of Universes Beyond, and you are more than welcome to leave those thoughts in the comments. I would love to hear from you. We have a professional wrestler. This is a great card. I played in a green or with a green-black deck that had the symbiote card. It's like 1 in a black, enchantment creature aura, +1/+1 and menace, and it's a symbiote. You put that on this and it's just a 5/5 unblockable. Very, very fun. We have a Scorpion Sting. Speaking of good black cards. Wow, very nice. Good removal. We have a Spider-Man Web Slinger. Okay, for the web slinging deck, this is a great card. You can web sling for 1. Quite nice. You have Doc Ock, Sinister Scientist. For the villains deck, this card is wonderful. There are a lot of random cards that mill you, and the villains do, like some of the villains do incidentally care about that. It feels very incongruous with what the set's trying to do, because even during pre-release, people were getting confused. They were like, oh, well, I milled this, so can I mayhem it? It's like, no, milling it is not discarding it, but you would be forgiven for not understanding that, because there is no, like, mill synergy really, except for the fact that there are some villains that are that give you benefits when they're in the graveyard, or a card like this that wants you to have 8 or more cards in your graveyard. But the cards are so few and far between that it just feels very weird that there are like random cards with mill on them that like you can kind of get benefits for, but not really. And so it's like, why are you milling anyway? But anyway, that's again my own opinion. We can have those conversations in the comments and or come to stream. We can talk about them there as well. We have a Subway Train. This card is very, very good for fixing. If you are more heavy green and you're like splashing a third color, let's say, this card is a great one to help you get there. Incidentally, later on, it's like a 3/1 vehicle that can chump or can block pretty well and trade up maybe. But honestly, being able to use this to get a basic, anything that it does after that is just a cherry on top. But that's what I use this for. Obviously, this is a vehicle, so we were talking about Iron Spider earlier, but really, I mean, putting a +1/+1 counter on this, like, honestly, is that really what you want to make this a 4/2? That's still not that great. But anyway, we have a Vibrant Cityscape talking about fixing. So 2 cards in a row that would really allow us to splash a third color. Again, especially in sealed, it's a little bit slower, definitely more of a possibility. Vibrant Cityscape, a very good card to help facilitate that. We have an Eerie Gravestone. I'm not as big of a fan of these cards personally. Again, this one talks about milling cards, and then you can put a creature from among those 4 cards into your hand. But what other benefits do you get? Like, you know, you just lose all those cards. And for what? Like, some of your villains may have, like I said, effects from the graveyard, but like, you could just play them and then use those effects from the graveyard later. Or you could discard them when you don't have cards with mayhem to then be able to cast. And that's how those cards can end up in your graveyard. You don't have to mill for them. And so 2 mana draw a card and then 2 mana later to maybe get a creature. I don't know. I don't like this card personally, but again, any thoughts in the comments for sure. We have our first uncommon in this pack with Heroes Hangout. Sorry about the noise. Hey, Heroes Hangout. I mean, this is not an amazing card, but if we're playing red, I would probably put this in. Like, if I really needed a cut, I would probably consider it. But if we're looking for decent cards, this is not a bad one at all. It's 1 mana at sorcery speed. You can get 2 extra cards off the top and play one of them until your next turn. So if you are like low on resources, this is a great way to select the best of your top 2. Or you can, you know, +1/+0 and first strike at its sorcery speed. So you can only do it, you know, at the, like before combat or whatever. But I mean, first strike on your creatures, especially if you're trying to be a little bit more aggressive, not bad at all. Okay, we have Robotics Mastery. I am not as big of a fan of this card. I've heard some people talk about how they feel like it's good. I feel like it's not. But as always, let me know your thoughts. And, ooh, this is a very good card. Wraith Vicious Vigilante. Double strike can't be blocked, 3 mana 1/1, but it's in white-blue, which is the type of deck that wants you to put auras and equipments on things. And if you can put some auras and equipments on this, it's very good. Double strike can't be blocked. Like, That's incredible. I mean, even just this that I said was not a very good card, it makes it a 3/3 double striker. And then you hit them for 6 because it can't be blocked. Really, really nice. Behind our third uncommon, we have the Spots Portal, another uncommon and a very good one. We were talking about possibly being in black. This gets in, no question, if we're in black. Great, great card. We're probably going to have a fair number of villains. So, but I mean, honestly, sometimes losing 2 life is still worth it. So there you go. And so our rare or mythic is a Friendly Neighborhood. This card is incredible, by the way. Absolutely incredible. You make 3 1/1s, you enchant a land, you make 3 1/1s, and then you can tap 1, tap the land, and give one of your creatures +1/+1 for every creature you control at sorcery speed. Absolutely incredible card. I mean, based on our rares alone right now, this gets in, but I mean, if we're looking at red-black, it clearly doesn't. It is splashable, but I mean, we also just got Wraith, so I'll keep my eyes open. Maybe we're pivoting away from red-black, who knows? But Friendly Neighborhood, a very, very good card. Really, makes you want to go wide. So like that Gallant Citizen that we saw earlier, very helpful for stuff like this. So yeah, good stuff all around. I really, really, really like this card. All right. Behind it, our foil. Ooh, is a very good one. In foil Wild Pack Squad, the fact that every one of your combats, you give one of your creatures first strike and vigilance, very good. That white deck's looking better and better, especially if you can make it huge. But behind Wild Pack Squad, our land is a Sinister Hideout, obviously for the villains deck, or best for the villains deck, of course. I guess, could help with splashing, but there we go, Sinister Hideout. And a Spider / Illusion Villain token. God, Mysterio, such a good card. Okay, our third pack. A third of the way through this video, and like I said, we'll have many more to come in this box alone. A second Scorpion's Sting. If we're in black, gets in, great card. Another Wild Pack Squad, good to see. We have a Doc Ock Sinister Scientist, again, notably legendary, but of course, having 2 in the deck is not a bad thing. It just means you're more likely to draw one of them. We have Taxi Driver, I'm not as big of a fan of this card. Subway Train, again, not bad, not bad. A Hot Dog Cart, so if we are, it's a mana rock, right? 3 mana, taps for mana, and then you make a food. Incidentally gaining 3 life, not a big deal, but if you are trying to splash, this could help with that. We have a Skyward Spider, another good one for the Auras and Equipments deck. If it is modified, Equipment, Aura, or +1/+1 counters, this thing will gain flying. And then, of course, any other benefits that it gets from Auras and Equipments. And it's got Ward 2, which is pretty great. We have Lurking Lizards, not a bad card at all for the red-green big spells or big creatures deck, mana value 4 or greater. We have Damage Control Crew as our first uncommon. I mean, it brings back big stuff or exiles an artifact or enchantment, so basically you shouldn't put this in a deck if you don't have big stuff, because like the artifact and enchantment is like, gravy on top. I guess technically, because we're talking about sealed, you could absolutely put this in as like a splash, so there's that. All right. Next, we have Chameleon, Master of Disguise. Very, very nice. Obviously, it can, because his name is Chameleon Master of Disguise, instead of whatever he comes in as a copy of, he can copy legends and be on the battlefield alongside a legend. So that's pretty nice. Like, I mean, what have we seen legends-wise? Doc Ock, I guess? So, I don't know. Right now, they don't really have something for it, but like if we open Mysterio, for example, this card is incredible with Mysterio. Absolutely incredible. We've got Spider, piloted by Penny, or SPDR, piloted by Penny. Not bad. Again, white-blue. Okay, seems pretty good. And that is our third uncommon. So our next card is... Ooh, Black Cat Cunning Thief. Okay, with this and 2 Scorpion Stings, like, I don't really know how we're not playing black. This card is Absolutely incredible. Probably one of my favorite cards in the set. Very, very good card. And behind it, our foil, yes, is a foil. God, another white-blue card in Sunspider Nimble Weber. Has flying on your turn, and you can go get an aura or equipment when it enters. Okay, now you're just toying with me. I mean, I guess we've got Sinister Hideout, so that lets us, it taps for blue or black, so we could probably splash one of those colors, maybe? I don't know. Notably, this is hybrid, so you could go, I guess, white-black and splash blue, maybe, for like Spider, because Friendly Neighborhood is white, and Black Cat is white as well, so you could use Sinister Hideout to splash blue. That's not bad. Behind it, our land is Suburban Sanctuary. Okay, that wouldn't help us with what we're looking at so far, but it's still a dual land, so that is something to note. And we have a treasure/spider token. Okay, that is halfway there for this particular video. Let's go with pack number 4, if it ever opened. There we go. We start with a Risky Research. I would probably play at least the first 2 of these. Card draw is important. We have City Pigeon, very nice. Obviously, this card is best with web slinging because you're very likely to get in on your first or second turn with this thing and then web sling something in. But I mean, honestly, in general, it's just a great card. It's a 1/1 flyer for 1, and then when it leaves, you make a food. Pretty good start. And a Beetle Legacy Criminal, notably a villain in blue. So quite helpful. Again, this is another one of those cards that I was talking about before that benefits you for being in your graveyard, but it's also a 3/3 flyer, which is not a bad thing to have. We have Shock, great card. Obviously, good removal spell. We have Spider-Man Brooklyn Visionary, very good for, I mean, obviously it's got web slinging, but it's very good for fixing as well. But again, you have to be primary green, and we're kind of not looking at that right now, at least in terms of the powerhouses that we have so far. We have a News Helicopter. I've heard some folks talk about how good, like, that they enjoyed this card. I'm not as big a fan. 2 1/1s for 3, 1 with flying. It seems okay, but I'm not in love with it. Spider-Man No More, on the other hand, I do like quite a bit. I have had a situation where an opponent played this on one of my creatures, and I was able to, like, you know, give it some +1/+1 counters or whatever, and actually still make it a threat, even with Defender. So realize that creature does still stay on the battlefield, but sometimes making one of their biggest threats into a 1/1 with no abilities is the exact thing that you want to do, and it is very difficult to get enchantment removal in this set, and then, like, yeah. So I think this is a very, very good card for many of those reasons. We have Craven Proud Predator. I haven't really seen a lot of Gruul support in these packs so far, but this is a cool card. We have Flying Octobot. I mean, if we're going anywhere near villains and blue, black, white, like, this gets in. What a great card. And then we have something very fancy looking back here, but it's our 3rd uncommon. It is, Web Warriors. So this is the art for Web Warriors from the panorama image. And honestly, I mean, or the collage image, I guess we would call it. But anyway, I've been calling it the panorama. This should get in. If we're in white, this gets in. It's hybrid, and when it enters, put a counter on each other creature you control. So it goes in the Friendly Neighborhood deck, right? It wants you to go wide. So we were talking about that. This is a really great card for that deck. And this is our 3rd uncommon. So our next card is the Death of Gwen Stacy. This card, even if it just said 3 mana, sorcery speed, destroy a target creature, it would get in. What an incredible card. And then the fact that, like, you know, it does some other things as well along the way. Exiling graveyards is not nothing. There are ways that folks have of messing with stuff in graveyards. So, yeah, I mean, this is pulling in both directions, right? It's pulling you towards black to do, like, villain shenanigans, and it's pulling us towards white to do, like, go wide type stuff. Maybe we just go black-white. Like I said, maybe we splash blue. Who knows? But that's where I'm leaning right now. Maybe white-black. I know that that's not an archetype, so that seems very dumb. So maybe we're supposed to be leaning more into, like, black-blue with white, or I don't know. That's kind of tough. Because blue-white is a thing and blue-black is a thing, so that would probably be the best, would be to have blue be the tertiary color. But still, we have the Death of Gwen Stacy. Great, great card gets in. Ooh, we also have With Great Power. Really, really leaning into the black and white theming here, huh? Wow. Okay, this card is pretty cool, especially if you're doing any sort of aura and equipment type strategy. Friendly Neighborhood, notably an aura. So if you put With Great Power on something, the creature gets +2/+2 for each aura and equipment attached to it. So notably, I guess ignore what I said about Friendly Neighborhood because that goes on a land. But still, it's a pretty good card. And then it's got the Pariah effect where all damage that would be dealt to you is dealt to that creature instead. Obviously, if they have a removal spell or something, you're a little bit screwed. So, you know, kind of be aware of when you're playing this. But if you've got like black support and blue support, like it should probably, it would be okay, I think, to play this card. And I actually like it. Behind it, our foil, I assume, is a foil common in Spider Manifestation. Not necessarily for this deck, but this is a very, very good card. 2 mana, 2/2 reach. So bear with upside automatically, but it also taps for red or green. And whenever you cast a spell with mana value 4 or greater, untap it. Insane. What a great, great card. Our land is a foil Sinister Hideout. Very nice. Will help us to splash blue very well, in fact. So yes, I think both of those get in. That's great. And then we have a treasure/human citizen. 2 more packs to go in our first video of this box. I mean, you know, the packs have been cool. I will say, you know, we bought this booster box, so like value would be nice. I'll keep my fingers crossed, but if we're going villains, we've got Inner Demons Gangsters. Notably, this talks about discarding cards, and that is more in the Mayhem deck, the black-red deck, but it is still a villain, so if we were doing blue-black villains, this could get in. Selfless Police Captain definitely gets in. A 1/1 that gets a counter when it enters, and then when it dies, gives that counter to something else. Again, bear with upside. Really, really nice. We have a third Doc Ock Sinister Scientist. I mean, they are common legends, right? So not bad at all. I don't think, like, if we're splashing blue, I don't think this gets in. I don't think Chameleon gets in. I think they're just, you know, some of those gold cards definitely do, like Spider piloted by Penny. That one would get in my estimation, with the blue splash. We have a Romantic Rendezvous, not a bad card at all. I really like this art, actually. I think it's a good mix of sexy and funny. And it's like, I mean, again, the art is just very good. We have another Professional Wrestler. Great card. Another Spectacular Tactics. I would play 2 of these. The Destroy Target Creature with power 4 or greater, definitely relevant. And then if they're playing a bunch of small stuff and you want to save your creature, right? Give it a +1/+1 counter and give it hexproof. Why not? Pumpkin Bombardment. I would probably put this in if we're playing black-white. Like, obviously you don't need the red and you don't really need to discard, although you can. There are some incidental black cards that will have Mayhem, or maybe you just have an extra land and you want to pay 1 for this. Not bad at all either way. We have a Scout the City. Again, not for this deck, but card's fine. We have a Living Brain Mechanical Marvel. I'm not a big fan of this card, personally. It does, you know, make non-equipment artifacts. So yeah, not even because we might be doing equipment is this relevant. Plus, we haven't seen any equipment. But that's our first uncommon. Prowler Clawed Thief. See? Blue and black. Really, really nice. So we could splash blue for this guy. I would absolutely put it in. It seems like we're going to have a fair number of villains, despite the fact that the white cards aren't going to be villainous. I still think, like, if you guess about half the creatures are going to be villains, this card is great. Because even just a 3 mana, 2/3 menace is good, but any other villain entering makes this guy connive. Really, really nice. Behind it, we still have we have Supportive Parents. Not for this deck, but this card is very good for web-slinging decks, which are white and green, because you can just tap creatures for the hell of it, add mana, and then use that mana to cast your spells. To cast your web-slinging spells, I should say, where they pull back those tapped creatures, so you don't have to say, like, oh, well, my Gallant Citizen isn't going to get in for 1 because it's a 1/1 and they're just going to block it. Well, now you can tap that Gallant Citizen and Supportive Parents to add 1 mana of any color, and then you can bring Gallant Citizen back to your hand, play like that Spider-Man for 1 white, and then later replay that Gallant Citizen to draw another card. So really, really nice. Supportive Parents really helps to fuel that quite a bit. So that's our third uncommon. Our next card is a rare in Strength of Will. We're not really looking at green, but this is a pretty cool card, I think. So there's that, and I love this art. I love the story behind this art, like showing Peter Parker kind of realizing his limits and then exceeding those limits, mainly because he had to. And so that's what's being depicted here with him kind of holding up this giant piece of machinery that's falling on him. And it's raining. I mean, like, come on. Have you ever, even if you're a strong person, like if you've ever tried to hold something when it's wet and rainy and you're wearing gloves, I mean, like just, I get it. His hands are sticky because he's spidery, but that's not easy to do and exert all that strength. So really, really awesome. Our foil? Yes. Ooh, and it's a good one in Venom's Hunger. This is probably one of the best removal pieces in the set. Look at that foiling. My God, that's pretty. I like that a lot. And that's a great card. Definitely gets in, no question. Our land is another Ominous Asylum. I don't think we're splashing red, but that's 2 Ominous Asylum, 2 Sinister Hideout, notably Suburban Sanctuary, and a Vibrant Cityscape. So we could still use the Cityscape to help us splash as well. And we have a robot / food token. Nice. I like how that hot dog looks. Not that I'm like, oh, it looks delicious and I want to eat it, but I just still think it's a really good piece of art. All right, last pack, 6th and final pack for our first sealed pool of our, I should say, Magic the Gathering Marvel's Spider-Man Play Booster Box. Hopefully you've all enjoyed. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'm not as big of a fan of this card. Again, it's the milling thing, right? Why? And I wouldn't splash for it, but it is Mysterio's Phantasm, a 1/3 flying vigilance that mills whenever you attack with it. I don't like it. Angry Rabble, not a bad card, not for this deck. Craven's Cats, same thing. Swarm Being of Bees. I guess I would put this in. I mean, maybe it's a 23rd, or if it's a 24th, I would cut it, but it's a villain. There is some incidental things where we have to discard a card, so we could get this for 1 mana with Flash. It's not too bad. We have another Spider-Man Web Slinger. I don't know if I would put these in. I probably would, right? They are heroes, so it doesn't really work with some of the themes of our deck, but if we're playing white, if we're trying to go wide, 1 mana to web sling this thing, bounce something back to our hand, like, not bad at all. Could you imagine bouncing, like, Black Cat back to our hand and then playing it again because we were able to web sling with Spider-Man? That would be absolutely incredible. I think that's Magical Christmas Land a little bit, but, why not? A guy can dream, can't he? We have Bagel and Schmear. It's a hell of a card. I don't think I would play it, but well, actually, you know what? Maybe I would. It gives counters, which works for modified, and we do care about that. So I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Would you play Bagel and Schmear in this deck that we're kind of building here? We do have a Venomized Cat, another one that mills cards when it enters, but it is a 2/3 Death Touch for 3, so I would definitely consider it. It's also a villain. It would probably be towards the top, so like, 23rd card or so. I might cut it if I had to, but it's not a bad card. I wouldn't be upset about it. Another Gallant Citizen gets in. Great card. We have a Shocker Unshakable. I actually really like this card. Obviously not for the sealed pool that we're making here, but this is a very, very good card, and that art is so cool. I don't recall if I saw this one in foil, but if I didn't, I really hope I do, because it looks really nice. And that's our first uncommon. Secret Identity is the second. I would splash for this, I think. It's 1 blue, so like you can't really play it early if it's your splash color, or usually you can't play it early if it's your splash color. But I mean, you don't really need to play it early. You need to like make your creatures, like your big scary creatures, gain hexproof late in the game, and or make your 1/1 into a 3/4 and flying and vigilant. Like, it's pretty good. I like this card a lot. And we have Scarlet Spider Kane. I don't think, like, this is for the Mayhem deck 100%. I mean, not just because of its coloring, just because of what it does as well. And we do have 2 Ominous Asylums, but we are really leaning into black, white, splash blue to kind of tie those 2 colors together. So I don't think this card gets in for that reason, but I don't think it's a bad card. And then behind our third uncommon, we have a rare in Spider-Woman Stunning Savior that absolutely gets into the deck and actually ties the deck in together quite nicely. Really, really cool. She is a hero, not a villain, but still, artifacts and creatures your opponents control enter tapped, and she's a 2/2 flyer for 2. So, you know, she like screams, give me auras and equipments and stuff, because she's flying as well, but just a great card. And then our last foil of the video is another professional wrestler. Okay, it's a foil common. And again, actually looks really cool in foil, I won't lie. Very, very nice. And again, it's a good card, not for the deck that we're making, but it's a good card. Ooh, and we got a full art planes. That's really nice. I think that looks really cool. So, and then our last is a robot / food token. You know, again, value-wise, nothing crazy here. I think I'll just leave you looking at our buy a box promo because this is the box that we bought. We bought a box, and so we get this buy a box promo of Spider Sense. And so hopefully you all enjoyed this video. As I said, there are a lot of things that I asked you about in the comments down below, but let me know what you thought. Let me know what you thought of the video. Thank you so much for joining us. Please feel free to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. We would really appreciate it about literally everything, like I mentioned. Don't forget to check out more of our stuff. We have links down in the description box below for our other 2 channels, Video Games for All and Gluten Free for All. If either of those sound interesting to you, you should definitely go check them out. If you want to see more from us and you don't want to miss the rest of this box, if you haven't done so already, please don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell. You'll get notifications whenever any of our videos come out, including the continuation of this box. You'll also find out exactly when we go live every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern right here on this channel for Magic Monday. We're also live every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern over on Video Games for All, playing whatever video game we happen to be playing at the time. Right now, while I'm recording this, we are playing through the Mega Man Legacy Collection. So definitely go check that out. We'd love to have you join us in any and all of our streams. You can also check out our Instagram accounts, Gluten Free for All and Geek for All. You're welcome to join our community Discord. We would love to have you over there. And last but not least, if you're liking the things that we're doing, you can help us out by supporting us on Patreon. And we really appreciate any and all support that you are all willing to give. If you're looking for a free method of support for us, don't forget that likes and shares here on YouTube go a very long way. But for now, from us here at the Geek for All family of channels, I have been Joe. And as we always say, in whichever video of ours you watch next, we will see you all next time. Thanks, everybody.